Hello everybody, welcome to the first video of the newly rebranded Diecast Radiator Studios, and a great way to start off 2026, and especially for Cars' 20th anniversary, we're going to be reviewing Dinoco Lightning McQueen. Yep, this is such a classic version of McQueen from back in the day, and this feels nostalgic because this one right here is an original Dinoco McQueen from 2006, because you could kind of see that it says made in Thailand, which obviously, indicates that this is an original Dinoco McQueen from 2006. And yeah, well, welcome to the newly formed Diecast Radiator Studios. And yeah, and also I would say happy 20th anniversary to Cars, but it isn't officially yet until June. So yeah, enough rambling. Let's just get on with the review. And yeah, this Dinoco McQueen is one of my favorite versions of Lightning McQueen that we have ever seen from the movies. And obviously, he appears. Well, this version of McQueen appears when the King and McQueen were talking. Before they announced, obviously it was a three-way tie, and obviously the King is giving them pointers, but McQueen isn't listening because he cares more about the fame and fortune and him being a part of the Dinoco sponsorship, and of course it ends up leading him to having a daydream of him being with Dinoco. And this is obviously the paint job that you see him for most of that Dinoco daydream sequence. Although there is another version which I don't have open yet, but we'll get to that later on. So yeah, that's pretty much his little appearance that he had in the movie. Obviously, it wasn't actually real; it was just a daydream. But let's just get on with the releases. So he has been released a lot, like I mean a whole lot. He was released as a single, 2-pack, multi-pack, anything you could think of from back in the day that Mattel used to do. Not as much anymore, but yeah. But his last release was in 2015, and this is, well, actually make that 2017. 2017, sorry about that. So unprofessional on camera, but yeah, he was last released in 2017 in those Lightning McQueen boxes of the second wave, not the first one. So yeah, that was pretty much it for Dinoco McQueen. He hasn't been released in a while, which is very disappointing because I really want to see this McQueen come back, and us fans have been begging Mattel for years for him to be released actually in the main line, but Mattel still hasn't listened. But thankfully I do have one, so I'm not really worried about it. But anyways, let's just get on with the review. So of course, you obviously have the classic expression of Lightning McQueen that has been used since 2006. So yeah, this is very nostalgic for me. So obviously here you have the expression, and then you obviously have the 95 on the headlight, not like in later generations of McQueen where obviously the headlights under the headlights, which obviously they're stickers, but obviously we already know them. And then obviously you have the Dinoco logo, which looks pretty good, especially since this car is like basically 20 years old at this point, so it pretty much holds up. Unfortunately, I think mine was misprinted with the lightning bolts because they're not in the correct place in comparison to this McQueen, which obviously you can't really tell because it's already painted off. So yeah, mine was kind of a misprint, but I don't really care. Obviously, you have blue Lightyear tires, yeah, in comparison to his red that he's iconic for. And then obviously no contingency sponsors. Obviously, you got the lightning bolt, which is different, and I do really like the lightning bolt design in blue with that red, which is supposed to be orange, but I think it is kind of a more darker orange, if I'm right. And then you have the Dinoco logo, you have the gas cap, which wasn't printed that well, especially back then. I know Thailand has definitely corrected that now, but now since we have gone back to China, so yeah, that kind of is right. Kind of ruins that, but yeah, whatever. And then you obviously have Lightning McQueen, the Lightning McQueen signature, obviously not printed that well, but it is in yellow. Oh wait, it is. Yeah. Oh my gosh, am I dumb or something? But yeah, and then you have the 95 logo. Same thing on the other side, and no Dinoco on the spoiler, which obviously the bling bling McQueen, which kind of, yeah, you can kind of see it now. Yeah, that did correct that, but on the original Dinoco McQueen, they never corrected it. Which I hope if they ever re-release just a classic Dinoco McQueen, they I hope they do fix that, because well, that kind of was an issue with this McQueen for years, and it still is. So obviously you had Dynaco in 95, nothing really in the back. And then obviously there is no date code, which is surprising because, well, I mean, this was early days. This was early days for the Cars line. And then you have Disney Pixar Thailand. Not China, but Thailand. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this McQueen. Now let's just compare them to the classic McQueen. Obviously, a lot is different with these two, with obviously, but they do have the same expression. Obviously, the 95 is still on there, with just, you know, color differences. Obviously, Rusty's medicated bumper ornament in comparison to Dynaco. And then, yeah, obviously, the Lightning Bolt is more different in terms of its colors. Contingency sponsors in comparison to none. Obviously, it's basically basically similar to a classic McQueen. It's just with just Dynaco and no contingency sponsors. And hey, there's actually the Rusty spoiler. Obviously, the original McQueens, all the way up to 2009, never contained the Rusty's logo on the spoiler, but they did correct that eventually. And then obviously you have Rusty's, and then you do have the rookie, because McQueen was a rookie in the first movie. That was his first year. But yeah, this is a 2016 release, so that's why it's kind of beaten up, and it's definitely seen better days. And let's compare them to, obviously, you got Bling Bling McQueen, which I did review a long time ago. I might re-review this version, but honestly, I kind of think this is kind of pointless a little bit to just review just a version of McQueen with the Bling Bling tires again. So yeah, and then obviously Dynaco. This one is a bit more refreshed, since this one was, well, this one came out in 2008. This is the original one, so, or one of the originals, because I know this one was released in 2007. Obviously Dynaco, the Lightning Bolts, I mean, they are better printed, but still has a bit of the issue. Obviously, instead of the regular Lightyear tires, you got the Bling Bling tires that he specifically made himself. Oops. Well, that I think he designed himself, with obviously the Piston Cup logo, which has been inaccurate for years, because the Piston Cup logo should be in gold instead of everything just being silver. They tried to correct it in 2010, but they didn't execute it well either. And also, the other thing is that the Lightning McQueen signature is actually painted in blue. That's why I was confused when I saw this. I was like, wait, why is it painted in yellow? I hope mine isn't an error, and that's just because at the time they just didn't know that the Lightning McQueen signature wasn't supposed to be yellow, but I think they kept it like that. And then you obviously have the Dynaco logo on the Bling Bling McQueen in comparison to the regular one. And then obviously nothing in the back. And the blue here obviously is a bit more faded than this one. But maybe it's because that's how they painted the cars back then. Back in like 2006 from Thailand. So maybe a China one might look a bit more darker. And obviously this one does have a date stamp. This one was produced in the middle of 2008. Because this one did come from the Dynaco, or from the Gold Me and Tia 3 pack. So yeah, obviously that's pretty much it for Dynaco McQueen here. Might as well just bring in, obviously you got your Bling Bling McQueen, you got the Piston Cup right here, which kind of does fit with McQueen a little bit with this paint scheme. You obviously got the King, of course, probably the most iconic character of the entire franchise. And then you got Cal Weathers, who is the Dynaco racer in Cars 3. Yeah, that one we could put right here. And then the current racer for Dynaco, which is Cruz Ramirez. Yeah, this is the original 2017 release. And then you have Tex Dynaco, who is voiced by the late Humpy Wheeler, because yeah, unfortunately he did pass away earlier last year. I think around the summertime. I think that's when he passed away. Yeah. Condolences to his family and so forth. Yeah, it kind of was a loss for sure. We'll probably never see Tex Dynaco in the franchise ever again. And then obviously you had the Dynaco hauler, which is of the Cars 1. I do not have the Cars 3 version because I never got it. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Well, yeah, it's been a while, but I hope you guys do enjoy this video. And if you want to, if you want to see more content on on like the channel of like, you know, doing hunting videos, because I didn't really do hunting videos of me going to the stores because I didn't have enough time to do it, and then plus, you know, there's people around and I feel a bit embarrassed. The only time I ever did it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and also follow me on Instagram if you want to see, you know, the new cars I get, or, you know, if you guys want to, like, you know, have a conversation. I'm willing to have a conversation with you guys. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time. All right, bye.